section for box one. And so let's go ahead and open it up. And Don, any questions or thoughts on box one?
Yeah, that's something that I've personally been trying to tweak and work on, and I 100% agree that your business starts and ends right there in that one box. Everything else supports it. Because if we don't have leads coming in, we don't have business. And it's been a big thing on my mind, especially this last couple of weeks, and I am taking action and putting things in place. But one thing that to be honest, is, look, I think that I'm really, really good at what I do, but one of the weak spots that I have is that I do not 100% of the time ask for the referrals. Even although I have systems in place to help me do that, it still gets to be kind of an uncomfortable thing. People push back, so I'm wondering if I need to script it a little bit better and softer, but still get the point across that it's something that, unless I get leads from my personal clients, I'm having to do lots of other marketing things, cost, inefficiencies and time, and then I cannot help out those that want to actually do something because I'm so busy trying to get new business.
Sure. Yeah, great question. Couple of things before I forget. When you look at profitable partnerships, so I think it was about 22 years in business or something, we had built a database, gone to seminars, workshops. We had done all kinds of different ways of lead generation and built a database that was about 100,000 in our database. So when we look at, we didn't mention this in box one, but this is why the Q&A is so important. But through a profitable partnership, we grew that from 100,000 to 1.1 million in about 17 minutes. I mean, that's the power of partners. So it took over 20 years to get to 100,000. It took like 17 minutes to get to 1.1 million. And this is where I think a lot of people, they don't understand the power of profitable partnerships. Anyways, I wanted to say that before I forgot it. If you go down to 10, asking for referrals, I don't know if you and Michelle have gone through this particular lesson, Don?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. So this one's a short lesson, and so it scripts it out. It scripts it out, and so if you and Michelle go through that, maybe together, it's short, I don't know, whatever it is. And so if you guys go through that together, one of the things that can help is you obviously, when you're asking for referrals, you want to ask at the peak time when they're most likely to say yes. And so you want to get it down for sure.
I feel that I do that. I know when the peak times are, and I'm consciously aware of the concept that you just talked about. It's still, I think it's a personal thing. I'm not being maybe assertive enough, although I think that
what you can do to solve that really quick if you want to solve it really quick, just increase your pain. So Daniel can help you do that. He can just say, Mr. Crozier, you failed to do it. I'll fine you $100 every time you fail to do it. You're losing so much money now, or $10 or $2.50, whatever it takes to motivate you. So we can change behavior so fast, it's insane. If we're willing to self-discipline ourselves, if we're willing to put enough leverage on us to move us where we need to be moved. Paul, thoughts, insights, input on today's Box 1 lesson?
Yes. So the opposite of Don, my business right now is, so I'm B2B, and so kind of feeling neither fish nor fowl. So I have, a LinkedIn population, which is my theoretical database, and I get paid off of my channel. My channel is derived by account executives.
So your question is?
Well, so who am I marketing to? Because
yeah, good question.
The referral.
Great question.
Okay.
So that's a great question. Who is, I'm a B2B. When you say you're B2B versus B2C, so B2C is business to consumer. That's loan officers, realtors that go to the end consumer. Wholesale are going to be B2B, business to business. So in wholesale, if you're, a mortgage banker, you're going to be providing money to the mortgage broker. So in B2B, do you know what so right here, Paul, box 27, penetration and expansion strategies. Do you know what your penetration rate in globally in all of your accounts is?
For my channel?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
What is it?
About 7%.
Okay. So this is really exciting, right? I mean, 7%. If you can go ahead and take it from 7% to 10%, you just increased your revenue, your sales by 50%, roughly. So now comes the question is so this is that's like a dream come true. And so a lot of times companies kind of make the mistake is, if you've got 90% penetration, you got to go into expansion strategies, but box 27 penetration versus expansion strategies, you got 7% penetration, man, that's a gold mine just waiting to happen. So it's a little bit of a 7th degree, ninja move. You can apply, it's a similar type of strategy to number 11, box 5, prospect conversion. So what you're seeking out is in box 12, feed successes. What you're looking at doing is taking your best client, maybe taking them out to lunch, and then putting a tape recorder there and saying, hey, I just want to ask you a question, and just just share, and I'd like to record if it's okay, and your first response. So what would you say your penetration of your best account is?
It's relative. This is a specialty lending. So if they, did...
Yeah, I'm just looking for a teaching moment here. So it doesn't really matter because the principle is going to be what matters.
Yeah, 100% penetration.
Okay. So again, it doesn't matter if it's 20, 50, 100. It doesn't matter really what the details. The concept is what you're looking at doing is they're thinking differently, or they might have a different business model. There's a lot of different reasons, but what you're looking at doing is you're looking at box 6, grouping people and messages together. So you're going to segment. How many B2B do you have in your channel? Roughly again.
3,000.
Okay, 3,000. So you break that up into, 3 to 7 categories. What you're looking at doing, Paul, is you're looking at influencing the minds of people. So you take a box, and that would also, I think that's covered in number 11 or 10, asking for referrals. I'm pretty sure in that lesson. What you do is you take box 12, you capture that, and you ask them the question. You say, what do you love most about working with us? And you just shut up and let the recording go. So you record yourself. What do you love most about working with us? And let it go. So what you're doing is you're mapping literally their mindset, how they think. And then what you do is you take that message from box 12, feed that puppy back into box 2, and say to your overall database, how many potentials do you have?
3,000.
Well, you have 3,000, but what's your total market database?
Well, if it's external clients, it's probably 8,000.
Okay, 8,000. So again, details are not nearly as important in what we're teaching because once you get the principle down, you got it. And so you take the 3,000, you say, would you be interested in having a relationship like this? And then you put in that marketing in your box 2. You put in that marketing precisely, Tom says, even if it's grammatically incorrect, what that person said. So what will happen, Paul, is that the mind shift of the mindset of your best clients will start to go ahead and alter your other clients, and you'll start to see that 7% move up because you're moving you're taking and capturing the mindset of the highest level people that you do the most business with. You're transferring that mindset over to the rest of your database. It'll move the rest of your database, and it'll draw people in. Does that help, Paul?
Yes. Aha, goosebumps.
Yeah, it's really cool. Janae, you're involved with Paul's company as well in the marketing area. Did you have any questions on what we covered?
No, I think Paul brought up some great points. Prior to moving into the wholesale, I was actually in retail, so it was B2C. And what I found that was effective, and it was something because of the way our compensation structures, was I would strategically, on purchase transactions, I would target real estate agents because real estate agents had other agents that they worked with, and I would try to wow them with the service and collecting the documentation, kind of pre-underwriting, and say, hey, you guys want to have the same type of service with your next deal, feed them over. And it was crazy the amount of people who would just come back to us based off of that one experience and that one transaction.
Absolutely. And this is in number 11, Box 5 Prospect Conversion System. You guys, as a wholesaler, you guys could put seminars on. You could have Don come in and speak. You could speak. You could have Ski come in and speak. You could have other people come in and speak. You could speak again. And what you could do is you could have the loan officers invite all the realtors. So realtor, the average sales closing ratio of most businesses is 1 out of 10. The average closing ratio for a realtor is about 1 out of 30, depending on your market. And so you ask a realtor, if you're working with realtors, you just say, I was just curious, like if you had 10 leads, like what's your sales closing ratio? If you had 10 leads, a lead being a name and a phone number, how many of those leads would close? You have to ask them exactly like that. If you just say, what's your sales closing ratio? Or if you just say, if you had 10 leads, how many of them would close? You can't say it that way because people will select it improperly. They won't do it well. So you have to ask them specifically.
My observation of the real estate community, from my vantage point, is that they, in those that are not in the top 10%, is because they don't have a system. It's more of a hobby. It's a free floating, just do what I can and try to follow some sort of script per se, but there's truly no system that takes them through all 5 areas of the pipe.
So Paul and Janae, if you guys go ahead and do a seminar and you say to a realtor, how many out of 10 do you convert? They say 2 out of 10. You say, that's amazing. That's great. And so you're twice as good as the average in the industry. So on the other hand, you're not getting paid on 80% of the work you do. So how many transactions do you close? Well, probably 1 a month. Okay, great. So you're probably getting, 4 to 6 leads a month that you're not converting. And they're like, yes. And you say, okay, so over the last 6 months, you probably have about 36 leads that haven't converted. Yeah. And what's your average commission? Well, let's say 8,000. So in the last 6 months, you've done work on $288,000 that you haven't been paid on, or annualized for $576,000. Tell you what, I'm going to have you. We've got one of our wholesalers coming in, and they're doing a seminar on what's called a prospect rescue system. Unbelievable. So what you do is you bring all of your leads, all 36 of your leads that haven't converted over the last 6 months, bring it to that seminar, the actual lead, like print them out, bring them all to the seminar. And if a loan officer, so that seminar, Paul and Janae, is all designed to where at the end, what are they going to do? They're going to give all of their unclosed leads to the loan officer. Then what you do is if there's 36, the loan officer says, you know, I'd be more than happy to follow up on them as best as we can. We have systems to do that. I do have it does obviously require a lot of work. So what I'd like you to do is, can you go and you teach them in the seminar, Paul and Janae, how to go ahead and you'd say, what are the 2 reasons? So the loan officer actually works with the realtor during the event and says, what are the 2 reasons that people do business with you? And the realtor might say, well, because, I've been in the industry a long time and my knowledge. And then the loan officer says, okay, great. So how many of those 36 leads that you brought would you like me or somebody on my team to connect with and cross-sell you and tell those 36 people that you're amazing because you've been in the industry so long and you're knowledgeable? If I were to go ahead and do that for those 36, how many of those would you like me to do? And the realtor is going to go, well, like all of them? You say, okay. Again, no promises, but, we'll do the best we can to do it with all of them. If you could help us out and just circle the top 6 that you would like us to go ahead and say that to, that would help us to stay focused. When somebody does that, who are they going to circle? The best leads, the most recent. So you top grade them, you float them to the top. We're going to have Avalinda, anything you have?
Just a comment on asking for referrals. In coaching on Wednesday, I learned a script, and it worked. And that was, we're putting a new program together to communicate with families, and this will help us share news with you. And it was no problem to get the email for that. So box 7, I love box 7.
It's so cool. It's like it works. Like it actually works. It's like, whoa, it works. So a lot of times, so if we recommend anything that doesn't work, come back to us and say, hey, we did this. It didn't work. Okay, what did you say? What did you do? Often it's not that it doesn't work. It's that we don't, do it in the most effective way. Ski, anything you would have before we close out today?
No, not at this point, Mark. Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? We'll open it up for Q&A after we go offline here, but anything anyone else has for the online here? All right. Always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. God bless. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.